All right, everybody, hello and welcome to your reading for the full moon in Taurus happening tomorrow, the 19th of November in the Northern Hemisphere and the 20th of November in the Southern Hemisphere. There are so many deep things happening. I'm not sure if you're feeling it, but I most definitely am. There is a video by astrologer Pam Gregory, who I will add the link in the description box below if you're on YouTube, that describes, the title of her video is just called Thoughts About Now. And it describes the deep intensity of what is happening right now. We have a lot of Mars energy in action. We have a lot of Scorpio energy in action. We have a lot of Aries energy in action, of beginnings, of new creations, of being the ones to break the threshold, to break the glass ceiling, and to break the framework. So there is so much new energy, new truth, new ways of living that is coming towards us. But this moment is very difficult for people. It is breaking people. It is pushing people to their limits, and it can be very challenging to find the stability and the homeostasis in this moment and in these times. So hopefully this full moon in Taurus will bring some of that grounding and will illuminate this ability to feel at home, to feel like you have a connection to a sense of home, whether that's in yourself, in a location, in a person, but allowing ourselves to feel like we're not going to be whisked away or sort of thrown into the ether, and that we are actually okay and we are actually stable. This will hopefully be the energies that are coming to light for this full moon. But right now it is intensity, it is it's pressure, really. And Pam Gregory in her astrology mentions this concept of vibrating at a relatively high frequency, and vibrating at 528 hertz is the frequency of love. But there are individuals out there who are vibrating and who can be vibrating at 700 hertz and above. And they've just come out with some science to back all of this up that describes that the people who are vibrating at that frequency have the ability to influence 71 million people. And that could be you. And so the message that Pam is putting forward in her own reading this week is that that's not an easy place to be, but it could be you. And think about how much impact you could have, even vibrating at the frequency of love. Think about how much impact you can have. I think it's 700,000 people if you're vibrating at the frequency of love. Think about how many you can impact. Think about how much change we can create. And, I'm sure this will come up in the cards once we begin the reading, but the feminine is so close. We are so close to tipping the scales. We are so close to coming back into balance. We are so close to rising in a way that is permeable and will penetrate the fabric of this society that we've been living in for so long that's not serving us. We're not thriving in this society. Women aren't thriving in this society. Men aren't thriving in this society. Certainly anybody who is non-binary or trans or any divergence from the norm, any folks who are living on the fringes, they're not thriving in this society. So once we can make this change, and once we can fully embody this acceptance of the feminine in our own bodies, whether you're masculine or feminine or anywhere in between, I truly believe that we will start to see these radical shifts happening. I have a new deck today, so I am going to pull a few cards from that, but I haven't well acquainted myself with it. So we're going to start the reading with the regular deck that I usually use. I am opening myself for long-term clients beginning in the new year, so just put that in your wheelhouse. And as always, I'm open for private readings. So let's get started. Yeah. Okay. So I think a lot of people really need to see this week. Um, let's see if the autofocus is. There we go. So I do really believe a lot of people need to see this week. I've been getting a lot of messages from friends and loved ones, saying, I don't really know if I can do this. I don't know if I can keep going. My nervous system is whacked out. I'm really struggling. I'm feeling really exhausted and burnt out or whatever. And what's coming through as sort of the general message for the collective here is that who are you taking care of? Because you have the guidance and you have the connection to be taken care of by the ethereal, essentially, and by your own guides. But who are you taking care of? Because there is a connection between the belief that we are inherently alone and sort of I have to do this on my own, and a connection between that and this I have to help other people all the time so that they stay around me, because I'm inherently an island. So if I'm not helping these people all the time, if I'm not being the caretaker, if I'm not being the one who always is there, always shows up, does the extra work, does the extra time, I'm going to be alone. And so this card is showing to us that you have this team of spirit, you have this team of angels and of reassurance within the universe that you deserve to be taken care of as well. But if you don't claim that for yourself, and a lot of this Scorpio energy is about claiming, it's about saying, you know what, this is for me. And I'm going to take this and I'm not going to feel guilty about it because it's for me. And nobody else is going to pick it up because it is for me. So allowing ourselves to recognize that we also deserve to be taken care of, and that starts within, and it starts at home, and it starts with us. So where can you take care of yourself more tenderly, more carefully, more, how can you hold yourself in a better way? Does that mean maybe canceling plans and arrangements and spending maybe a whole weekend taking your time, going for walks, not doing a lot? How can you care for yourself first before you care for others, so that you can move from a place of grounded centeredness? Taurus is the nest maker. Taurus is the foundation. Taurus is the home sense. So if we can create this stronger comfort level within ourselves when we put ourselves into these radical spaces, and when we put ourselves into these moments where we want to be agents of change, we will be able to take care of ourselves first without losing ourselves in the process of trying to take care of others. I don't know about you, but that definitely resonates for me this week. Okay, you know what? I'm going to move to the new deck. So these are animal cards. It is the Illustrated Bestiary collection box by MAIA. I will drop the link to that deck in the description box below if you're on YouTube. I'm really excited about this deck. It feels very much like home to me. Again, when you're picking out a tarot deck or an oracle deck or any sort of guidance cards or material, it's got to call to you. And if it doesn't call to you, then the deck's not for you. So you really don't need to worry about it. What's coming through, actually, before I get to that card, is patience and delays as well. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of tension between our expectations of the speed at which things happen and the reality of how fast things need to happen in order for them to be sustainable. So recognizing that often things are much slower, and it's really hard to have that last bit of patience because you feel like you're at your end of your rope and you feel like you can't go on anymore, and you feel like you've got this sort of, there's sacred rage that's happening right now. There is grief. There is all these sort of heavy things that we really need to stir up so we can release them. make space for more love and make space for more connection. But it's really hard to create that patience when you feel like you're at the end of the line. And so visualizing that, visualizing having the space, visualizing having the patience, really putting yourself in this imaginative space of, I can do this. I see this big expansive space in front of me. I don't feel stressed anymore. I don't feel exhausted. I feel spacious. I feel expansive. You know, the meditation that I always, or do with the visualization, visualization that I always do is about a meadow, and that's what helps me feel spacious. You know, maybe for you it's a dance floor, or it's an ocean, or it's a river. But whatever image you can conjure in your mind to give yourself that idea of space can be really helpful. And for folks who have a hard time visualizing, writing down words that make you think of space, you know, expansion, breath, calm, release, time, you know, patience, all those words can help with setting the intention of creating that more space, so that you can have just a little bit more patience, because we're so close to that change. You know, we're so close. So, card from the new deck. Yeah, okay, so I'm not really surprised about this. So we got the Andalusian horse, which is quite a beautiful image. This is MAIA deck. But I did pull it in reverse. And again, I mean, look how confusing that image looks upside down. It is a disaster of weaving. And what's really coming through for the collective, and sort of what my guides are sort of all piling on top of each other and channeling down, is this concept of, if you are good, if you can create a little bit of peace within yourself, if you can create a little bit of calmness within yourself, you know, do alternate nostril breathing technique, also known as box breathing. You breathe, hold one nostril, you breathe in one side for the same amount of counts. You hold in the middle for the same amount of counts. You let go on one side for the same amount of counts. You hold at the bottom for the same amount of counts. You breathe back in through the same side. Hold in the middle. Exhale at the other side. Hold at the bottom. This arc of breathing that starts and goes back and forth through your nostrils can be extremely balancing. EFT, I have a video on my YouTube channel. It's called the Emotional Freedom Technique, also known as tapping the body to release energy that's trapped in the meridians, also extremely helpful. But there are a lot of things going on right now. This is not an easy path. This is not direct. This is entire layers of frameworks of the world that are shifting, and we know this. We know this is happening in the States. We know this is happening overseas in places, and we know this is happening within ourselves. So again, Taurus, home, really coming back to that, what do I need on a basic level to help me feel balanced, you know? And it's tricky here because substance can be such an easy excuse. I love weed, I smoke weed because I feel better. Or I love coffee, I drink a lot of coffee because I feel better, I feel more focused. You know, I use whatever because it makes me feel calm. But there needs to be some sort of practice, you know, whether it's singing or dancing around in the shower, or maybe it's brushing your hair, or some sort of practice that is just you, that you can do, that will allow you to feel calm and feel balanced and feel safe, because this is a compass of direction and a compass of opportunity, and there are many different ways that we can go. And in order for you to find your true north, you need to have that little plumb line of balance that will keep you aware of what is yours and what is the collective's. It's so easy, especially we're getting close to Sagittarius season, and it's so easy to overlook the things that are not ours, because we think it's ours, because we internalize them, and we're feeling beings, we're sentient beings, and so we feel that, oh, this is my thing, I'm so angry, I probably have something wrong with me. Whereas it could just be that you went out for a walk early in the morning and you were feeling the energy of the collective, or you're feeling the energy of the collective in your sleep, and it can be overwhelming to believe that all of that is yours. So ask yourself that question. Is this mine? Is it, or does this feel like the collective? Generally, if it's sort of like a deep, overwhelming feeling and you really can't tell where it's coming from, or it sort of seems like a sudden onset and it feels like it really came out of nowhere, it's usually because it's the collective. So it's good to at least make that recognition and make that small divide, because then it's easier to let stuff go. Okay, we'll do one more card. Yeah. This is an interesting one because it's coming through, again, back to that commentary on the feminine and this sort of belief. I've been having friends that a lot of us are having dreams about war and about battle and about fighting and sort of this, like, these collective dreams that are about fighting a battle that we have been trying to restore for a long time, and it being unfair or it being impossible. And it's really interesting because in this sort of feminine warrior sense, and this woman is indigenous, and so she knows, she's connected to the heart of the mother, she's connected to the land, she speaks to the rivers and she speaks to the wind. And so engaging with this and engaging with this type of sacred feminine involves letting go in the process of our fight, in the process of our own, I will say personal war, because I don't know about you, but if you're a woman, I find that it can be pretty frustrating to live in a world that's been designed by someone else. In this fight and in this battle that doesn't need to be violent, we must let go of this sense of righteousness and this sense of, I want to hurt. I am right, I am going to make you feel small. I'm right, you're wrong. Go back to, if you're Western, go back to Matilda. Go back to that scene of, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm smart, you're dumb, I'm big, you're little. We don't need that type of energy as we move forwards. So as we enter spaces of conflict and we enter spaces of deeper conversation where we might be the only woman in the room, or we might be the person who is enacting that change, it's so important for us to demonstrate and be demonstrative of the fact that we can do this through love. It doesn't need to be through anger. It doesn't need to be through pain. It doesn't need to be through hurting other people, because when we do that, we're hurting ourselves again. And although I'm sure we've been hurt in the past, everybody has, every human has, it's part of the journey. When we hurt others, we're bringing that forwards into the present instead of letting it lie. So where can you bring things forwards with more love? Where can you let go of the need to be righteous and the need to cause pain, to show somebody something, to prove something? Where can you bring forward your message that just rings such deep resonance of truth that they are shocked by the echo instead of shocked by the harshness of your words? Whew. So that is all I have for you today. If you would like to book a private reading, please, if you're on YouTube, just drop a comment. I keep track of all of the comments. I try my best to reply to all of them. You can also send me an email. I'll leave my email in the description box below. If you're on Instagram, just send me a DM. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening. And I wish you all a very cleansing, very comforting, and very clarifying full moon in Taurus. Blessings.